Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 15 of Lost in Translation Mon. Again, sorry for missing out on a week. Jay was really sick.
I was dying.
Last week and this week, we watched It's All in the Cards
Or The Chase, Hurry to Japan,
and Return to Heightened View Terrace.
or Memon, The Great Clash at Hikari-ga-Oka.
First of all, we have lots of messages. So the first one is Anonymon on Tumblr, and they say that they felt like the idea was that the crests can be corrupted in two ways, either by rejection of the trait or by going overboard into it. So that's a fair enough point. Like I would have liked to see a way of instead of going overboard, which I think was sort of Taichi, but he was also just doing it to get the his crest to react. I would have liked to see maybe it react darkly to Mimi's complete being the opposite of the trait,
Yeah, that would
and
have been nice
maybe
to see.
yeah, and I would have liked to see maybe Togemon become. Oh, there's a really I think there's an evil version of Lilymon.
I think that theory has some problems, such as uh, how do you go overboard? How do you be too reliable, right? How do you overdo friendship? It's
But I guess being being like too clingy.
maybe, but the reliability one is really tough. Or I guess you could overdo knowledge. It works for the examples that we've seen, but I think it'd be tough to craft it into a theory that actually works for all of them. And the best question, I guess, having been spoiled slightly, is how do you overdo, or I guess how do you even undo light, since light isn't exactly a personal trait.
I think it's more being having a bright personality, maybe, or just being. It might also be being good.
Oh, that's the lamest thing
Like
ever.
that's basically it. Also, the Dark Lilymon is called Bansho Lilymon, and she has like what looks to be a yo-yo made out of vines.
I'm looking it up.
I'll send it to you.
Bancho Limon.
And it's got like Togemon's face on the yo-yo.
Oh, that's a thing. Why did they have a yo-yo? Wouldn't the thorns sting your finger? This is a terrible idea.
I know, I think she looks pretty cool. But I would have liked to see, an evil evolution.
She looks like an evil math teacher.
Like in an anime.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the next question is also from Anonymon, and they say on the Mimi giving Joe's seeds thing. My guess is that maybe the word for seeds is similar to the word for love in Japanese, and it was meant to be a pun that doesn't translate well into English. But I don't know if this is the case or not.
Well, I
Like,
don't speak
yeah,
Japanese at all. You
I
can
don't
a
speak
little.
Japanese either. All I know that Tane means seed, and I think Euro means seed, but I can't remember any other ones. But maybe. And if you know of a reason why this would be a pun, feel free to send it in. I'd be interested to know because I'm trying to learn Japanese right now. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, like maybe because they do tend to put those sort of like double meaning puns into Digimon. All right. So another Anonymon said, my own interpretation for Myotismon sending Devimon to sabotage the kids, but not just going for the kill when they're split up, is the same mistake Devimon made, overestimating what they're capable of and being overly cautious. He'd rather focus on the one he doesn't know, the one he doesn't have the crest on their partner, and isn't a threat than one who could potentially evolve to perfect against him.
So, I understand that. I mean, on a basic level, that kind of makes sense, but it falls down at two places. A, he's seen what happened to Devimon, so he should have learned from his contemporary's mistake. And the second one, which is a lot more glaringly serious because it's evidenced in the show rather than just being shown about, is that he only shows up when they're at their strongest and all together, rather than showing up when they're alone or having thrown away their tags and digivices because they're depressed.
Well, we do see later on that Myotismon is quite strong, so it's not so much that he's not weak like Devimon. I think he can actually handle them as a group as they are now.
Yes, but he had the opportunity to like attack TK when he was completely alone.
But I don't think that's his main goal. I think his main goal is to get to the real world, to stop the eighth child.
But what are you stopping the eighth child for? Right? Because they're the weakest of all of them. But you had a kid who had abandoned all of their stuff and their
It's
Digimon partner. It was actually more perfect and much
yeah,
easier.
but it's explained later on of why the eighth child's different.
Oh, I don't. I guess if
Yeah,
they're different.
well, not different, but so much is needed. So it explains why he wants to particularly go after the eighth child, which is completely a mystery at this point. Like, it's not like we saw a bunch of spoilers in the ending or anything.
Well, is that the case? Because I understand, the is the eighth child specifically special, or is it that there have to be eight children?
It's in regards to the crest, and there has to be eight children.
Okay, so the crest one I understand. The fact that there can be eight children, that means you can kill any of them and you'll fix the problem. So at least for the second part, if you'd gone after TK when he was depressed for 2 weeks, that would have worked.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, so we have another Anonymon, and it's doing what I love, correcting when I mispronounce something. So please, if I ever mispronounce something, please tell me because I'm not Japanese, and especially and Chinese words too, I can't pronounce them. So if I muck up, please tell me because I would like to be corrected. So Li Zhenlang is pronounced Li Zhanglang, because it's written like Jiang Liang, which is what I said it was. But so thanks. And Qing Long Mon, which is how I said it, is pronounced Ching Long Mong. That was also told me by Wu Qinglong, which I can now pronounce the name of. Yay. It's but yeah, if I ever mispronounce something, tell me because I don't want to, you know, be wrong for too long.
On the other hand, if I'm ever mistaken, don't say anything. It's much funnier if I'm wrong forever.
And we have another Anonymon, that says, "Hey May and Jay, thanks for making Lost in Translation Mon. It's fun to hear a long-time fan and a new viewer discuss the dubbed and subbed versions of Digimon. As an American, I grew up with the dubbed version and generally prefer it, even if it's a little goofy and poorly edited sometimes. I have a suggestion request for your podcast on SoundCloud. Can you mark the segment changes in the podcast similar to the way you can mark segments with timestamps in YouTube videos? Thanks, ZB."
Uh,
And I'm assuming those are initials.
which is weird because you could have just not been anonymous. But
Well,
thanks,
maybe they don't have
ZB.
Tumblr. They might have Tumblr.
Oh,
So
I guess that's possible. I don't
if
really think
and it's a
about
good
that.
way to get in contact with us.
Um,
So I'm going to actually look that up at some point to see if I can mark segments. I don't think that you can, but I will definitely research it because that'll be a pretty cool feature. And if I can't, I might just write down the times in the show notes. Like for example, 3 minutes to 4 hours Digi News, which at sometimes it feels like it's 4 hours of Digi News.
See, I read this question beforehand, and I was gonna say, look, May puts in a lot of effort into the show already, and this seems unnecessary, but all right,
No,
if
I
you're
don't
happy
mind.
to.
Like I don't mind it. It's fine. Like I really this podcast is sort of like my second job, and I like it. And Digimon's great.
Your second wonderful job that does you not only do not get paid for, but you pay for.
Yeah, but it's Digimon, and I love Digimon. It means a lot to me.
Hmm.
Anyway, so we have a question. We have two questions from Thunder Drummon on With the Will. Uh, they ask, "What do you think about Digimon amiibos? Are you two down enough in the merchandise hole to consider buying one if they existed? And which one would you prefer?" Yes, yes, I would definitely buy Digimon amiibos. I have a few amiibos. I would most certainly buy Digimon ones. I would love a Togemon one, like that was compatible with like Smash or something, just so you could play with a boxing cactus amiibo. That'd be so cool.
That actually would be a really interesting idea to introduce amiibos that aren't characters in actual Smash, and the only way
Yeah.
to fight them is as computers. Uh, but I'm just going to address that one part of that question about whether or not I think the quote was you two are in the merchandise hole. I'm not in the merchandise hole at all. Makes up enough for both of us.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really enjoying the 15th anniversary stuff. I pre-ordered the complete selection animation Digivice and the goggles, and I'm about to pre-order the our war game Omegamon. Um,
Disgusting.
I love our war game. I can't wait for when we get to it. It's definitely my favorite. I'd also like our war game series of amiibos, and you have character naming. Oh, I should have also like spoiler warned for Omnimon slash Omegamon, as well as the one that I was just gonna bleep out, but I guess it's sort of redundant if I've already said Omegamon. But yeah, Diaboromon and Omegamon like amiibos, and you can like put them against each other in Super Smash Brothers, and they fight, and they have like a special backdrop. But that's not gonna happen.
Their size and scale would be too weird for that game. Like, they'd have to be a similar size to like Link, whereas they're meant to be the size of buildings. At least,
Omegamon's not
at
huge. Like
least
he's not a building.
the Devilmon number 2
Well,
is meant to be the size of a building. I
I
think.
no, I don't. No, no. The I think okay. So I forced Jay to watch Diaboromon Strikes Back.
And I have delightfully forgotten it already.
Yeah, well, that's good because it makes no sense without our war game. And I also made him watch the English version because I have this weird thing where I like to watch Diaboromon Strikes Back, the English version, like every so often. I have no idea why. I like it so much. It's so good. And I mean, it's not even good, but our war game's good.
I love this thing that's terrible.
And I was thinking for when Jay and I get up to our war game, we might also watch Summer Wars and sort of have a bit of an end segment discussing Summer Wars and how it's similar to our war game. And for those who aren't really who don't really know what Summer Wars is, the director of our war game made another movie of years later, um, and basically it was the same story as our war game but without Digimon, and it was so good. Jay will like it.
Yeah, you say that. There's no guarantee of anything.
But yes, so we might also when we do our war game, we might have a special Summer Wars episode special where we talk about the similarities between that and if Jay preferred Summer Wars or our war game. But that's, in the future. That's at least what, 4 months away?
That is a significant amount of time.
Anyway, so the second question that Thunderdramon asked, which I've actually put a lot of thought in the last week and a half.
I haven't been able to do that.
Yeah, well, you don't check the thread every day like I do. All right, so you're able to go on through the show with one less chosen child, keeping it at 7 instead of 8. Who would you get rid of and why? So at first I thought, which character it does the less?
There's
So
less.
yeah. So TK, I thought of, but like no, TK is really important. TK, his Digimon destroys Devimon. He's needed for things we haven't seen yet. Eighth child is needed. Taichi's definitely needed. Matt is needed. Um,
Really,
and then
Matt?
yeah, he's needed.
Is he?
No, Izzy's needed too.
No, no. Is
Get it?
oh,
Get it? Get it?
I got it.
Get it? Got it? Good. Um. Anyway, so I think he needs to be there for the sake of Taichi being a character, because he needs to be the one to say no. And also, he's there to look after TK as well, and TK is important.
While I'm making snap decisions, as you mentioned it, let's get rid of Matt. I'm good with that. That's what I'll go with.
Okay.
He's so useless.
So then it left me with Mimi up with it. Izzy is needed, so because he's got the computer and the smarts. So then it let me down to Mimi, Joe, and Sora. Sora is needed on the basis that it's the episode where she gets kidnapped, is where Taichi is able to get his crest to glow, and that might not have happened without that. Mimi, the episode where Togemon evolved, what would have happened? They would still be in the village with Monsemon. Devimon would take over. They'd still be in the village saying, "Oh, this is so much fun. This is so much fun." So we need Mimi. So then it's just Joe. And I think that, do we really need Joe?
He's so reliable.
I think other characters are just as, like, Matt's reliable. He does whatever he can to make sure TK is safe. Like, do we really need Joe? Like, I love Joe. I love Gomamon. Gomamon's a precious little thing. He looks like he would try to fight you, but wouldn't be very good at it because he's adorable. But do we need Joe? Like, I love him as a character, but do we need him?
Probably not, all things considered.
Like, I know he's reasonable. He's like, oh, this is bad, but he's also whenever it comes to humans, he's not reasonable. He's like, oh yes, we've got to trust them. These are humans.
That said, you need Gomamon. He needs to be around because marching fishes actually gets them out of enough
Oh yeah,
situations.
okay, okay. They would also okay, maybe they would have died in the first episode if it wasn't for Joe.
Although at the
He-
same time, what if you were getting rid of a human character and the Digimon stuck around,
Oh yeah, Joe, because Gomamon's like useful.
but you allowed other people to stick around based on their partner?
What do you mean?
Like TK. TK's only around because Angemon beat Devimon,
Yeah,
right?
but no, but he need Patamon needed TK to be there to him for him to evolve.
But what if you didn't?
TK's TK's precious. Okay, he's a cinnamon roll.
Oh,
He's
okay.
small.
I should make cinnamon rolls again.
You should and call them TK.
I will
Too
not do
small for
that.
this world. Too
I'm
small for this world. Anyway, so yeah, that's my answer. Joe Gomamon can stay though, because
My,
he's useful.
my answer's Matt, and you don't really need Gabumon.
Yeah, I guess, but he's cute.
He's okay. He's fine. He's disposable.
All right. So the next comment is from Fexmia on With the Will. They say, "Hey Jay, hope you're feeling better from the cold that we heard in the last episode."
The answer was that I
At the time, no.
wasn't. At the time that you sent this, I most likely was suffering fairly horribly. Uh, Viral infection of, yep, the bacterial infection. That's it. That's so yeah, but I feel better now.
That's
So,
good.
so thank you.
And then, and not sure if that's an excuse, but I can see Sora exaggerating her parents' desire for her to be in the family shop because of her own insecurities. Everyone has that weak point where an offhand comment will make you crumble emotionally, in special kids that might not know how to read into the lines just yet. And then wait, what? How did he think Guttermon was a male? She has long eyelashes. On the other hand, Gutto does mean male cat, but is also a neutral way to talk about cat. Masculine is default in Latin. And then, ha ha ha, thank God, Jay will be surprised for the whole card thing. His reaction to Salomon is just about everyone's when they first see it. It's a dog. So, yeah, so I found this thread, which is on the With the Will, where Jeff Nimoy answered questions, and he explains that he thought that Garamon was a boy until like he saw a few episodes later where his interactions with her interactions with another male Digimon, and the male Digimon sort of likes Garamon, but we haven't met that Digimon yet.
And there's
And
no way they could have been gay, so it
and
had to be.
yeah, definitely. So that also reminds me of something that I've heard about a character in the second season who is called Iori in the Japanese version, and this was misread in I believe the Spanish dub, and they said that they thought that he was a girl and called her Lori, and because they misread Iori as Lori.
Did that make it into the actual show?
Yeah, in the Spanish dub, apparently.
Oh, so that character just changes.
Yep, is
Nice.
is a girl in the Spanish dub. I think it's Spanish.
Well done, everybody.
All right, so I think that's all our. Oh yeah, Edgar Eritana. I think I mispronounced that, and I don't want to. I don't want to try. I guess I could try to pronounce the Twitter handle. It's Ixtilsko Chitsin. I'm probably missaying that.
Perfect. I'm sure that was
So
I'm sure that was accurate.
they say, so one of you prefers wizards meet muggle stories rather than muggles meets wizards. So this is referring to how you prefer in the real world portion of Digimon, I believe.
Which directions do those go?
So wizards meet muggle is Digimon meeting humans instead of humans meeting Digimons.
That
Like
one's me, right?
yeah, you like how they're in it's the humans interacting with the Digimon rather than the Digimon interacting with the humans. So like they're in the real world now.
I like when in Harry Potter, Ron's dad is like, "What is the function of a rubber ducky?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "This is a car. I have no idea what it does, so I made it fly."
So yeah, we could probably move on to the episodes now.
All right.
So it's been a while since I watched these. So I'm just sort of going off my notes, and if I get anything in order wrong, that's because it's been a while.
They've just come out of the castle, um, because they did not get to the through the portal, and they go speak to Jedi, who for whatever couldn't follow them in the castle because his signal wasn't strong enough, for whatever fake reason they made up in English. Um, and a few things come to light. The first is that Jedi says that he is neither human nor Digimon,
No,
which
he
is
says that. He says that after they're at his house.
oh right, yeah. Skip forward because actually that first conversation is not amazingly interesting, except for in English when Jedi says that he tells him to look for the searchlight to find where he lives because he's run out of maps, which implies that he had like a whole printed lot of maps. I imagine that they probably all washed away.
Maybe they got wet. They got soggy.
So yeah, they go down into the water.
No, before they do that, the searchlight shows where he lives, and in the original, in the Japanese version, Mimi is freaking out about the light showing where he lives, and how it's underwater, and she's saying, "How do we get there?" But for some reason, in the English version, they make this her screaming about her hat for no reason.
Looks like we're gonna be doing a little swimming.
My hat! My beautiful hat!
Which is weird because you'd think you should be on about her hair, not her hat.
Yeah, I guess because she looks like she's grabbing her hat. And so Goemon's in the water, and the water starts bubbling. And in the original, Goemon makes a fart joke.
Ah, that thanks Japan.
And when and Joe's reaction to seeing the light on the water is him saying, "Anyway, how do we get there?" But in the English version, this is him saying,
Must be really tough to get pizza delivered.
hmm?
He's not wrong. It's probably really hard to get pizzas delivered in most places in the
I know,
digital
but like,
world.
I don't know why they had to add that. I guess it was a cheap laugh, maybe.
There are a lot of times with the translation where you ask not even why did you make this big change, but why did you make this random small change that means nothing? So like they go down the stairs to Jenai's house and they meet him there and they go inside and the water all closes back up. And you see these fish and for whatever reason there are fish there. And I don't know why, but they explain, or Jenna explains that the fish are robots, which is odd because there are real fish in the digital world. I don't know why you had to make fish robots. But they identify them as a freshwater fish, and then in English, they're saltwater fish. I don't know why. I don't know why they felt in the different languages they had to change what kind of fish they were.
Well, I don't think in the in the Japanese version that they're robots, but in the dub that he says that he's only keeping the freshwater fish alive by feeding them lots of salt. Or no, the saltwater fish alive by feeding them lots of salt. And Joe's like, that doesn't make sense. But of course, it's because they're actually robots in original.
Yeah, it's really confusing why there's so much said about these fish in the first place.
Yeah. So also, when Mimi at one point asks him, "What does chosen child mean?" and this is fair enough, but in the dub, for some reason, she's saying it like she thinks he's deaf.
I don't remember that, and I watched this episode a
Yeah.
lot more recently.
Yeah. She's saying, What does being a digi-destined mean?" Like she's yelling, and he says, "Oh, I'm old but not deaf."
Mimi, calm your shit.
But she's being reasonable, as usual. She's reasonable in the original.
So, uh, I guess they go in circles for a while, but they really come to the idea about like the card puzzle. And I'm
Yeah,
very
and
glad that, there's no quest for the 9 cards. But at the same time, the card puzzle seems extremely arbitrary, doesn't it?
well, they've got to make it complicated to go into another world.
Yeah, but why are there pictures of random digit? It doesn't make a lot of sense, but even let's pretend it does make sense. Um, Jedi talks about how if you get the cards wrong, then you could open up into any other world. And there's lots of different ones, and there's some where, in English anyway, the Digimon and humans switch skins. Uh, and I guess that begs the question, what other worlds even exist? Uh, I thought the dynamic was that the digital world is a mirror of the real world in that, like, it's in the it's in the computer system. What else is there?
Well, imagine if you smash a mirror and you get like, if you smash it a weird way, you might have like lots of different pictures of the same image.
So you're
So maybe,
saying that the other worlds are just different digital worlds?
yeah, it's just like a broken mirror. Like it's just a distorted version of that world.
Okay. I mean, for reals, if you smash a mirror, you get lots of smaller mirrors.
Yeah, but like if you smash it and it still stays where it is, you might get like a slightly distorted, well not distorted, but like if you put your hand near it, like your hand might not look connected because of the crack.
And that's why you'll switch skins with a plant.
Yeah, well if you're standing next to someone, your arm might be closer to them than you.
Yeah. Um,
It's just sort of like I'm just saying what it's like.
I guess.
It's a simile.
I'll take your word for it.
So he's showing them where Myotismon is, and it's revealed that they'll say, "Oh, he's in Hikari-ga-Oka." But in the English version, they just changed this. Oh, they're a mile from where we all live, even though that's not true because I think Hikari-ga-Oka is like quite far away from Odaiba.
Or alternatively, I think in English they show them and they're like, yeah, it's our hometown.
Yeah, they're saying, oh, yeah, that's really close to where we live, but it's not. It's where they grew up.
Yeah, I thought that was really weird as well. Uh,
Mm.
although I couldn't remember if they lived in Heighton View Terrace, I guess, or if uh they don't live. It turns out they don't live there anymore. I was confused.
Yeah, they grew up there when they were there when they were kids. It's what we see in the prequel episode.
Yeah, when they're all in the housing projects. Um, like, uh, there's a thing where Mimi's whining, like she's saying, I don't remember the exact line, but she has this horrible whiny line. And in English, sorry, not English, and in Japanese, she looks up basically at the camera and he goes, "That's what I would usually sound like." But then she just smiles like an idiot for a while.
Yeah, I think that's in the at the end of this episode.
It's somewhere. No, it's in the middle. It's before. You're
I
right though.
thought,
It's after they leave. It's
yeah,
after.
no, I thought this was when
That's in the castle
they were
still.
talking to Tai when they were,
You're right. You're right.
yeah,
Though I guess the last thing that happens again is that there's a weird little aside about the Digivice's basically Pokedex functions,
yep,
and I don't know why they even brought this up because I don't think it was obvious enough as like a weird plot hole that all the information from everybody's Digivice wasn't all on the laptop. Uh, and so he needs to get a special adapter so that people can stick their Digivices on and everyone give him the information that they've gathered on all the Digimon they've seen.
yeah.
It's really weird because I honestly they should you'd imagine that they would just show up, and if it ever showed up and you wouldn't understand, you'd be like, eh.
See, I just think this part's cool because the adapter that is shown on the analyzer on Izzy's laptop is the same as the two-prong connector on all the original Digimon and the Digivices, and what's on the Digimon Analyzer toy. And I thought that was pretty cool. It's in the same place as it is on the Digimon Analyzer toy, which is basically just a toy that looks like Izzy's laptop, and you can connect your Digimon to it, and you can scan them, and you can play games on it. It's really cool.
I'll take your word for it because I've never seen it in my life.
I showed you,
Did you?
and you said, "Oh, it's Izzy's laptop."
Oh, is that the little calculator thing?
It's not a calculator.
I thought it was.
No,
Is that not what that is?
no, it's not a calculator. It's
Oh,
a
I'm
toy.
wrong. Okay.
It has games and stuff on it and connects to the Digimon toys.
Yeah, so they basically the kids are given the cards from Jedi to use, and they've got one extra, and they're not told in what order to put them in. And there's a whole big question about how you're meant to separate them up. And it occurs to me that I don't know why it's so hard. They're all color coded. I understand that there's a question of what order they go in and everything, but they're trying to figure out any kind of way to separate them, and they're going so far as how many syllables are in their names, uh, where they live. But not only are they color coded, but they've got little symbols on them, which like a little needle for vaccine, a little heart, or a little like black broken heart. I feel like they have enough symbols and colors on them that separate them that it really should have been obvious from the beginning.
But there's also the extra one.
Yeah, and I understand that part would be difficult, but I don't know why they didn't start separating it. Be like, okay, colors. All right, we got that. Now, which order do they go in? But they acted completely confused.
See, I didn't even notice that they were having the colors on them.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out the significance of the colors. Then I looked at when all nine of them were put down. I'm like, oh, it's like red, green, blue. Okay. Um, So they have a big conversation, and I was told about this earlier in I think a letter in one of our really early shows about the moment where everyone kind of stands around and decides that Tai is the leader.
Yep.
So we have that. That happens. And it's such a weird
Wait, are we
moment.
already in the castle already?
Yeah.
We skipped a bunch of stuff.
Did we?
So first of all, Jedi in the dub says that he'll teach them how to use the cards properly the next day, and he doesn't do that.
No, he just tells them he doesn't know how.
Yeah, but in the dub, it's implied that he does know how. And then he also says when he gives the analyzer back that he's installed other extra programs that are helpful, and
You
we
mean
see these in
you mean spyware?
in a later episode. But in the dub, this is just that he's installed the fish screensaver that he likes. And his parting words are in the original, have faith in yourselves. But in the dub, this is now, don't forget that you are the Digidestined. And we also have Joe leaning forward because he's not confident in his abilities to that he can get that they can all get to the real world. But in the dub, they changed this eating too much and he has a tummy ache. So yeah, they're in the castle and they're arranging the cards and they decide that Tai Chi is the leader. And Mimi does this thing where she pretends to be selfish and needy and just wanting to go home and not caring about anything else. And she's pretending this. She comes up and said, "That's what the old me was like. But now I know that I'm stronger than that." But in the dub, she actually is freaking out and she just decides that she shouldn't be selfish. But this is a genuine freak out in the dub.
Yeah. So they all tell Tai what a cool kid he is because there has to be a main character. And they're like, "Oh, you're the coolest, Tai. Why don't you be leader? You've always been reliable, etc." It's all so much hand waving, because he's been the leader the whole time anyway. My favorite thing about this moment is that Tai's amazing leadership skill is summed up by making the singular decision the puzzle should be decided by the smart kid. Hey Izzy, you're a
Yeah.
nerd. Do you want to do this puzzle? Of course I do. Great, I'm a leader. Fearless leader that he is. Oh yeah, for whatever
And
reason.
in the original, the castle is crumbling, and this is because of Atlo Cubiterrimon destroying it. I don't think this is really addressed in the dub.
I remember for whatever reason in English Joe talks about how he wouldn't have gotten out of the diner if it weren't for Tai, and uh,
He does
he
nothing.
says that he had been making French fries, which is provably not the case.
Oh, definitely.
He was making noodles. He just forgets what he was making, I guess. Or
Yeah.
I guess if you were American child and you heard I was making noodles in a diner, you'd be like, they don't serve noodles in a diner.
So then, when they're trying to work out the cards, Dokugumon is annoyed, and because they destroyed the castle, and so they come down, they're big, gross spiders. But in the dub, they're just saying we must destroy the intruders instead of, being reasonably upset that these kids are destroying your home.
Don't cry, Spoderman. Spoderman,
Anyway,
he has to break up the party.
so they're trying to work out how to get through, and the digivolutions happen.
Yeah, a lot of them actually.
But also something I should point out that this episode actually marks the first time we see anyone else besides Metal Greymon get to perfect level for the second time. So we have Kabuterimon getting to perfect level the second time, and Garurumon getting to perfect level for the second time.
I thought Garurumon did it a second time in a different episode. I can't remember which
No,
one, but I thought he did.
no.
Okay, I'm wrong.
I've been waiting. I've been wondering that why Metal Greymon always gets to be there.
Because he's the main character.
It's not fair. Anyway, so they get through the door and they all wake up where they came from and they're all saying, "What if we didn't do it right? Where are our Digimon? Is it all a dream?" And then it turns out that they've looked for food and then they say, "Oh, we don't need to do that anymore because we're in the real world. We can buy food."
Or, you can have nicer food than I think in English they say eating leaves, which implies that they were gonna throw away the berries and just chomp on the leaves.
Yeah. So that's that episode.
The one more thing, which it, when they were doing the cards, there were two left. The one was wrong. They didn't
Oh
know where
yeah,
to. And so
Gomamon and
Tai
Agumon.
basically chooses at random,
Yep.
and he picks Gomamon and he uses it and it works. And so in the real world, Agumon goes, Why did you pick like that one and not me?" And Ty just goes, "Oh, I wanted to keep yours." So he didn't make an informed decision at all. He just picked the one he thought he just picked one he wanted to keep and then went with the other one.
Yeah, he picked one at random in both versions though. But he doesn't say that he did. He just says, "Oh, I picked yours because I wanted to."
I think in both he says like I wanted to keep it.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. But it's shown that he chose at random.
Yeah. But it's weird that it might have been informed by just selfishness.
Yeah.
It's like this card's pretty. Let's go.
I don't believe we actually see the card at any other point during any episode though. Maybe he just keeps it as a bookmark in like his journal.
It just tosses it out the bus's window.
Don't need this anymore. Yup.
Was pretty for like 6 seconds and now it's getting in the way.
Anyway, so what did you think of this episode as someone who was new to Digimon?
It was fairly slow, all things considered, I guess.
They get to the real world.
Yeah, like that right at the end.
Would you rather them spent 10 episodes trying to look for
Oh,
cards and
that's not what I'm saying at all. Uh I'm saying that more could have happened. I think that the stuff with Genai was mostly weird and wasted time. Just like, oh, let's talk about fish. Let's talk about, the Pokedex functions of the Digivices, which no one was asking about to begin with.
I think it's a cool feature.
No, it's fine. It was weird that they even brought it up because I didn't even think it. I didn't even imagine a scenario in which they didn't sync up. So I'm just surprised that they thought about it enough to put a section in.
I thought it was an okay episode. Like, it
I
explained
thought the
stuff.
cards thing was lame, but I've always thought the cards were a weird thing. But showing us that not only were they not just like these magic implements, but they were basically playing cards was like kind of lame.
Yeah. So, do you think the changes that you noticed were necessary?
No, nothing nothing was at all necessary to change in this episode, I don't think. It
They
was
made Mimi worse again, I noticed.
yeah, I mean, it's not a huge deal, and the only big Mimi difference besides talking about getting her hat wet, uh, is the one piece of character development dialogue she has, which is either start whining and then say that's what I used to do, which shows self-awareness and having changed character a long time ago, or beginning whining legitimately and then stopping halfway through, which shows character development just a lot slower.
Yeah. It shows that, she still acknowledges it, but she still was freaking out about it.
Yeah. So I don't know. It depends. It depends on your mileage on which one of those you prefer. I prefer that she developed her character earlier, as we saw when they got off the swan boat after Princess Karaoke.
Yeah, and she says, "Don't call me that." Like,
Yeah.
she doesn't want to be a princess
Whereas in the
because
other
she
one,
realizes that, she made a mistake.
yeah, it's it's a lot less clear character development in English, a lot slower, and it doesn't need to be quite that slow. We've seen a development maybe for a while in Japanese, and it's only kind of catching up. Uh, and the other changes are what, like freshwater to saltwater fish, or other way around, for no reason. Also, they're robots, and they get rid of a fart joke. It's not a whole lot. Oh, yeah, there's not a whole lot there. It is really weird that uh, I, it, I guess they can't make it not Japan their hometown.
Yeah, because like they show the map of the world and it's Japan.
You can't be like, oh, well, that's Ohio.
It just looks strange.
Yeah. Um, Although when they're zooming in, I believe in the Japanese, they're like, that's Japan, that's Tokyo, that's Aokigahara. Wait, is it Hikarigooka? Aokigahara. I don't know what that is. Um, or is that the Suicide Forest? Yeah, I think Aokigahara is the Suicide Forest. No, Hikarigooka. But in English, they're just like, that's our hometown. It's
Yeah, so
Japan.
the suicide forest is Aokigahara.
Yeah. Um,
That's a depressing subject for podcast that talks about a children's TV show.
Ah, yes, the home of the Digidestined, the suicide forest. Uh, that's where Devimon probably came from.
Jesus.
Uh, anyway, so yeah, the changes were extremely minor all around, pretty
Yeah, but I
much.
thought they were pretty unneeded. Like, I guess it's Hikari ga Oka might be hard for a younger kid to say, so it's fair that they changed to something that's easily pronounced, and that's
Yeah,
fine. But all the silly changes, like, oh, I've installed these programs that you'll see later on in the series, change to, oh, you know that screensaver of the fish? Yeah, that'll really not date the show by talking about a screensaver that no one's had since 1999.
um,
While we're at it, why don't we talk about the Doom maze? That was really good. I love.
um, next episode, how some of the kids speak really dates it. And you're like, oh,
Yeah,
this is the 90s. I remember this. But yeah, that's that episode.
yeah. So the next episode, they're in the real world now. Yay!
Yeah, they show up in the real world. That's a good time. Um, their teacher sidles up on them.
And they're completely shocked by seeing him. It's like, oh, I can't imagine seeing you, this teacher, on this trip that I probably took with my school. It's
No,
so surprising.
I understand that. I mean, they've been gone for like 6 months. Actually, in their heads, like the feeling is they haven't seen it for 6 months, right?
Yeah.
So you can't do anything about that. It's going to seem like a long time. I really like. I'm gonna skip slightly further ahead. Mimi freaking out about seeing her friends,
And
and
pushing Palmon away.
uh, well, yeah, I will get to that. The adventures of Jealous Plant. Um, but Mimi sees her friends, and her friends are like, "I talked to you half an hour ago. Why are you freaking out?" She's like, "I missed you so much."
Yeah, and they're just sort of saying, oh, well, that's Mimi.
Why didn't they translate Heightened View Terrace? It's just like Light Town. Welcome to Light Town,
Light City.
where my sister Light is getting the crest of light.
Jeez. So when
Sorry.
the teacher says, "Oh, where'd you get those toys?" And that they tell us, well, they're referring to the Digimon, and the story about how they found the toys is the same in both versions, and I like that because why should it be any different?
Yeah,
But they're not really told off or anything for going out of bounds and going into a forest since they're children. I thought they would have been told off.
we went to somewhere that no one goes, and that's where we found these toys that people left.
So in the original, she comments about the passage of time in the digital world being different, and this is obviously right before she finds her friends and forgets completely about it. But this line in the English version is just a comment about getting her haircut because Joe mentions something about haircuts and Mimi's talks about her getting her haircut because she's a girl.
Of course she does, because
So then,
that's how she goes.
so then she sees her friends and she just pushes Palmon out of the way.
Get out of my face plant.
I guess you don't have the crest of friendship or love, Mimi.
No, just purity. Pure humanity.
Pushes, and I felt really like I just she became like less of a good character to me when she pushed Palmon away because I would never do that.
What? Because she has roots and she's hard to push.
She would ingrain herself into the ground. So when they talk about how they want to leave and go to Hikari ga Oka, in the original, the teacher Fujiyama says that it's safe to leave them with a sixth grader, but in the English version, this is just him saying, "Oh, it's I'll leave you with Joe because he's reliable." So it's linking him to his crest.
That makes sense, which is fine.
But sixth grader, would you really leave a kid, people with a sixth grader, to, wander alone?
I mean, it's Japan, so maybe people are more reliable in Japan. uh, it's a cultural thing, and also it's the 90s when you could trust like kids out alone a lot more
Hmm.
back in the day. Oh yeah, this is the time when kids are talking to Mimi and they're like, "Stop wigging out," which is a phrase that's dead.
Yeah. So Joe said that he pushed hard for getting to going to Hikari ga Oka because he generally thought that Takeru and Yamato is sad, and this is basically the same in both versions.
Yeah, they give a sob story about, oh, we want to go where we used to live when our parents were happy
And
together.
and guess what? This is congratulations, Dub. You made it. You finally referenced that they're actually real brothers, but their parents are divorced.
Yeah, it's really weird, and they didn't even. I mean, they didn't try to cover it up. I mean, they had to drop it, since our parents broke up, etc.
Yeah,
Um, but that makes the we're half brothers thing make way less sense
yeah. But
now.
remember, Mimi can't sing.
And I almost thought they would say like, "Oh, we were lying."
We were lying. We're not actually brothers. Our parents are still together.
No, not even that. Just like we are half brothers, but my parents are actually together. But we just need to lie to the teacher. I expected some kind of swerve, and I'm kind of impressed they at least didn't pull it back.
Right. So they get dropped off in Hikari ga Oka, and then we see Mammon, and he's just terrorizing people, and a guy with a bike throws his helmet at Mammon, and then Mammon throws it back. But this is removed in the dub. So
That
Mammothmon just sort of like we just see the guy on the ground looking upset.
and he gives us a nice life lesson about respecting people's property. He's like, "You should respect people's property. I would know. I'm a biker."
So both version, the guy with the bike says about how the owner should have their mammoth on their elephant on the leash. So it's pretty normal, to have a mammoth.
Uh,
So the
that's
kids are
actually
talking about
awesome. I'd have
the
a pet mammoth. That'd be sick.
yeah, you have a mammothmon. Would that be your partner?
No, no, I would not. They seem crap.
No, mammothmon's great. Anyway, so the kids are talking about how they all grew up in Hikarigaoka, and Joe Joe says that he didn't know Izzy, and this is weird because if even this line even though this line is said in the dub prequel part of the movie, I think that it's said that Joe's on the phone with Izzy. He
Yeah,
says, "Izzy, did you see that?" And he's talking to all the children, but I'm pretty sure that they didn't know each other.
but we can all accept that once you've gone into one piece of like ridiculous memory loss, such as I forgot monsters were fighting, you can forget anything. Also, they didn't live near each other for very long.
Also, I have to address something.
Yeah?
In this episode, they're talking about a terrorist bombing, and I was expecting this not to be like this part to be removed. And I read that it was removed, and they didn't say terrorist bombing in the original because of September 11th. I think I could be wrong, but that's just what I read. And
Wait,
but
wasn't the original released in like the
I meant
90s?
yeah no I meant the original as in the English dub. I'm surprised that they kept this in my version, but I investigate this a little bit, and apparently this was removed at like different, like it was removed in after like further reruns.
In
This part was
syndication
removed.
later on. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but but was it because I have the DVDs? Was it in the version that you watched? Did they in the English version mention terrorist bombing?
Honestly, I think they didn't.
All
Uh,
right, because I think you might have a re because I obtained episodes that were taped from shows, like the showing of it on TV,
yeah.
and that's what Jay's been watching, and I've been watching the DVD, and the DVD definitely said in the English version that there was a terrorist bombing.
Which,
So yeah, if you any of you guys want to tell me what version of Digimon that you have, if they mentioned a terrorist bombing or if everyone's does, or but yeah, I just read it somewhere that they got rid of this part, but in my version they didn't. But yeah, I have the official Madman DVDs.
yes, Madman.
It's an English Australian company that
Wait, Madman's
produce
Australian?
Madman Australian, yeah.
I did not know that
They
actually.
produce like what's the word? They
Publish?
publish they publish the anime in Australia,
The Amine.
and they're the most common one. They do a lot of our Studio Ghibli releases, and they also have Anime Lab, which is why Crunchyroll Australia isn't that good because Madman owns all the rights to all the anime.
Yeah, that's why you just gotta get yourself a VPN. It's wonderful.
Yeah, but I don't know. I had Anime Lab for a little while, but I've mainly just signed up if they had Digimon, but they don't have Digimon. I thought they would. I just want to watch Digimon legally. Like I want to
You
watch the
have
Japanese version.
DVDs.
No, I want to watch the Japanese version legally.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Um, so yeah, they're all working out that they used to live here, which is it's a little bit of a weird thing because they lived together. Well, they lived together in the digital world for like 6 months, and it never came up. None of them ever talked about themselves.
Well, I guess I wouldn't really think about it. Like they were very young.
It's true, but I mean they were together for 6 months, and Matt and TK obviously have clear memories of talking about giant monsters.
Well, TK takes a while to remember it. He's like, "Oh, yeah, that's right."
Well, TK was the only one who really remembered it.
Yeah, he's the first one, and then they all sort of pieced it together, and then Taichi realizes that it was Greymon. So when they're having all the really nicely done flashbacks, and they're doing it the exact, it's mirroring events that happened in the prequel episode, like Sora and Taichi fall down. It's like when Hikari and Taichi fall down, and they play Bolero in the Japanese version. So it's basically a mirror of the prequel episode.
It's
So
not badly done. It's pretty good.
so, considering the prequel episode came out about a year and a half after this episode in the English version, what do you prefer? Did you prefer it being seeing it before you saw episode 1 or after?
Well, I didn't see it
I
afterwards,
know,
so I don't know what that experience is honestly
but
like.
what do you think?
Uh, it's it's hard for me to make a decision on this, but I think that it's probably ah I don't know what to say.
Look, I saw the prequel version halfway through season 2, which is when it came out. And tell you what, I do not remember this episode from when I was a kid because I didn't know what was going on. Like it was just like I
Yeah, I
guess
guess it
this
would be
is
confusing.
like I mean I got that they're having flashbacks, but they were referencing it was almost like they were referencing something that wasn't there to be referenced. I mean it was still good. It was still like oh they know each other from kids. Oh this is all this happening, but I don't know. It felt like they were referencing something that wasn't there,
On
and that
one
was fine.
hand, I would really appreciate like a surprise and like the big swerve of oh my God, they knew each other the whole time.
Yeah, which
But
is what I had.
maybe that's not worth it in the face of having no clue what's going on and feeling left, high and dry.
Well, it is done very beautifully in the Japanese version about how it's just choreographed just really well. Like it just
Yeah, that might be.
matches.
It probably is better. They're like stanzas. They rhyme. It's probably better in a situation where you can like reference it in your head and you're like, I remember that. I can remember all that stuff. And Bolero and having all the recollection of it. It's probably rather than seeing it later in what is not continuity order. I'd get it if they was designed to see it later, but it wasn't designed to be seen later. You know?
Yeah. It was like they use clips from the prequel and you can sort of see that in the way that the animation doesn't it's sort of slightly different because it was directed by a different guy. So the animation's different and that's fine. It's not like it's not huge no it's not like doesn't stick out like a sore thumb or anything. But it's just something that looks like it's from a different thing, and that would have made sense if you watched the prequel first and it came out before the show. Like as I said, I think the prequel came out like a day before episode 1. And I like it like that because it gives you sort of like a dip into it. It starts with Taichi saying, and that's why I'm here, which fun fact is also the way that the first Tri PV starts. It starts with him saying, "Oh, something, something, something. That's why I'm here." And it's like, oh, they referenced it. Yay!
Yeah, it's probably better off if you saw it, all things considered. Um, have
But
we
having
covered the
said that,
fact that
yeah.
Gatomon is searching for kids?
Oh yeah, we kind of skipped over that part because I got excited with the terrorist bombing reference being removed because I saw that in my notes. I'm like, oh my god, that's right. I might have a version that a lot of people haven't seen because they've referenced terrorist bombings. So yeah, Gatomon and the other Myotismon people are looking for kids, and it turns out that Myotismon has clones of the the tag and crest, and Gatomon in the English version says, "So I'm a copycat."
Yeah, I don't understand this plan of his. Like, there's no evidence that these tags work, right?
And I don't think we've ever. Oh, we've seen a tag react to being with near a crest, but we
No,
haven't
what
really
I mean
seen them
is,
react to being near a person.
I wasn't even saying that, although that's a good point. There's no reason that perhaps the tags would react to the individuals, but I mean that there's uh the cat is saying that well, I can't make it react. I don't know what's going on. And my Otismon just goes, it'll definitely work if it's near the kid through my absolutely no evidence.
My Otismon, he has the brains.
And I think the evidence is actually that it won't work. And the only other copy tag that's ever existed was made by Nanomon, and it's gone. So you have no idea if it works.
Yeah. Well, presumably, like it might have worked.
I mean, maybe. It's impossible to say. And the fact that he says it with such certainty is ridiculous.
I never really put thought into that because I like I've previously I've had Digimon as a turn my brain off thing, but this is the first time that I've been watching Digimon and actually been thinking about the actions of the characters and analyzing it. Usually, I've just been watching it. Oh, it's a kid show, brain off,
I think
smile
that
on.
I think that modern kid shows have really proven that it is not an excuse to call them kid shows and say that that means they're brainless, mindless, that they can't have anything deep or they can't have anything complex going on with them.
Oh, they fixed that problem with Tamers. Tamers very deep, very complex, very dark. Wow.
Uh, yeah, that's not going to be dated at all.
I think I hope I don't like overhype you for Tamers, but I think you'll like it.
It's definitely a possibility, right? Because right now it's in position in a very what's messianic way. Not to not to oversell it at all, but that's the sense. But yeah, so it'll.
Oh my god, I just saw it. I just found a picture of someone has edited Shrek's face onto Ogumon.
This is my Digiswamp.
That's beautiful.
Seize the dreams you painted, Shrek. Oh, that's awful. That's a terrible job as well.
I love it.
Like, I like that you can see the extended bits that didn't get erased, like in the bottom right of the Shrek.
I think that's the point.
Oh, and there's all this weird stippling erase stuff in the middle of his face. Oh,
It's okay. It's fine. It's beautiful. I love
it's,
it.
it's kind of amazing.
Anyway, so back to the episode. I will put that in the show notes because I think that it is something that everyone should witness. Do you remember Ogumon?
Yeah, he's gone now.
Yeah, for now. Whoops.
For now. Oh, well, it's not like it was a big deal. He's not the most amazing character, but it's not a big spoiler that he's coming back. If you told me Devimon was coming back, I'd be like, okay, that's a big deal. Because it's a main antagonist.
Well, I assure you that Myodismon, once gone, never comes back. I assure you.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic. And your silence concerns me.
Anyway, Digimon. Well, Digimon episodes that you watched. So I noticed that these kids are pretty brave. Like, I guess they've got Digimon with them, but they're pretty brave. Like considering there's a big mammoth that looks like that he could squash.
I mean, that biker was brave enough to try and fight it for a little bit. And he's never even seen a Digimon before. So, and we're aware of how Japan is about giant monsters in that they barely notice them enough that these kids managed to forget they saw giant monsters. Really, they're really blasé about the kaiju.
Yeah, well, it's Japan.
Was that mentioned in the preview movie? I forget. They're like, "This is Japan. Don't worry about it."
No, I was telling you about a later episode where that line is said in the English version.
Right. Okay. Um. So yeah, what else happens in this episode? Yeah, they all work out that they lived in the same place, and they worked out that they must have all through the series of flashbacks. They all work out that they must have all seen the big monster fight when they were younger between Greymon and something. Didn't even say the big green parrot thing, just the something.
Yeah, they said. Well, they didn't. They don't know that it's called Parrotmon. I
Yeah.
don't think.
So they show us.
Well, it's not actually said that its name is Parrotmon. I just know it's
Okay.
Parrotmon because it's Parrotmon.
So, um, uh, it's really where they say, okay, well, the other kid must have been somebody who lived here and somebody who saw the fight, right? They reason it out that far. But you see Kari in the flashback.
Yep. And they don't at any point, well, in this episode, say, "Hey, what if Kari?"
Yeah, and this is just maybe this is just me, but the animation is obviously slightly different in the flashbacks.
Yep.
Uh, my question is, uh, she's wearing this like koala thing. She wasn't
Yeah.
in that in the prequel, was she?
Yeah, she was the
Oh,
cute like koala onesie.
I just forgot.
Pretty sure she was.
It's entirely possible that my memory is terrible. Uh, so yeah, it's just there you go. She's right there, and the kid's like, "Who could it possibly be?"
Yeah. I guess they don't really want to watch the ending credits, do they?
No, obviously not.
Also, I watched them again and I realized that there's actually another big spoiler in that at the towards the end. So please stay away from the credits, please.
Is it their friend who lives in America, Wallace?
Willis, no.
What?
Willis isn't in this. No, I meant at the end of the intro, the ending song.
No, I don't even. I don't watch that far.
Oh,
So
good,
you can
because
say.
at the very end there's another one. I'm just like, "Oh." Please no.
But yeah, the episode ends with them kind of going, "I don't know who could it possibly be," except that it's really obvious at all times.
Yep. But I guess they try and have a bit of suspense.
They're trying and failing because they told you.
So, what did you think of this episode as someone who is new to Digimon?
This one's a lot better. It has an interesting arc to it, even though it makes no sense. Like the fact that none of them. This is it's I'm gonna call it. It's a fairly classic trope of it's the we all grew up in the same orphanage, you know?
Yep.
And it's such an old thing, and it happens in so much Japanese media. I was like, oh, did you know that we all knew each other years ago, but we all forgot? It makes no sense at all.
I used to kind of wish that that would happen when I was younger. I was like, what if something amazing happened? And it's like with people that I don't remember meeting. And of course, this is me at 8,
And you
so
were like, oh man, it turns out I grew up with Tony Abbott, and we were best friends.
I'm so glad that there's the age difference that would make that impossible.
You never know, maybe he has hyperaging. That would explain a lot of his bad policy decisions.
Oh no, you mean I think he's just transported here from the 1950s.
Also possible.
That's why I'd be like, dude, the 1950 called and they want their ideals back, yo. 2020 called and he's not in office, yo.
Thanks, MC May.
I'm a cool person.
I mean, that's a bit of a stretch,
I feel sorry for Tony Abbott because no one likes him.
but you don't
For
know.
reference, he's our extremely sexist, racist, and homophobic prime minister for the moment.
Just like all Australian prime ministers,
Julia Gillard was all right,
I guess.
but no one liked her because she was a woman.
That's not actually. You know what?
No,
I didn't have enough. I didn't have complex enough political views at the time that she was
no, she was constantly
to
told
make
that
correct decision to really understand. Hey, you can
and
say
there's and the Australia was not ready for a female leader, unfortunately. I would love to be,
I
but
can hope.
yeah, she got a lot of flack because she was an unmarried atheist woman.
Oh, the horror.
Yep. Oh, the horror of being something other than a Christian male person.
Whiteman.
Whiteman. Anyway, so this is not the Australian politics podcast.
It can be. It could always be.
So yeah, continue. So what did you think of the episode?
Yeah, I like the wacky adventures of our stuffed toy Digimon, whom nobody can tell the difference. Oh, our teacher thinks that our Digivices are Tamagotchis. That's funny.
Yeah, oh, is this the newfangled toy that all the kids are talking about these days?
And like it's got its entertainment value, which is really what I'm looking for, all things considered. Um, and yeah, it was fine. The episode was fine. It wasn't bad.
I
They
liked
spent a
it.
lot of time in a fight, and obviously they do that because it's a kids show, and they like to spend a lot of time and their budget on the fighting.
I think it's also important that this fight
But
in
this,
particular
yeah,
is more important.
and at least this one had an excuse, you know.
So, what differences did you notice, and do you think they were relevant,
Uh,
important, justified?
the big one is just the name of the place.
Yeah, but that makes sense.
It does.
I mean, they could have called it something else that is easy to that's similar, like maybe what can't remember what Hikari ga Oka means, but I think it's like entrance to light or something.
That's that sure is a name. Yeah, the episode was fine. I don't think there were any really big differences besides they took out the fighting and later on they take out the terrorist bombing thing. But honestly, I thought the terrorist bombing thing was a bit weird to begin with. It was kind of out of nowhere. Was
It
the
was an
not
excuse. They could
was
have, I mean, they could have easily said earthquake.
was the 90s in Japan a really like politically uh a politically raucous time that had terrorist bombings?
No, but I think it was just an excuse because monsters is too hard.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't go with earthquake. So it's not a huge deal that we didn't see the terrorist bombing, though that got changed. Um, I would, and then it makes sense from a cultural perspective to really take away this terrorist discussion from kids programming when
Okay,
I,
so Hikari ga Oka means light on the hill,
okay.
but and they could have just called it like Mount Light or something similar, like Light Hill or any, or they could have just called it somewhere that's a little literal translation, or just Light on the Hill, or I don't know. What about Light Terrace?
They're just light and view terrorists.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I
But
guess
no,
Heightened View Terrace kind of is like that a little.
yeah, kind of, not exactly. It's not a huge difference.
Yeah.
Certainly not something that I would complain about.
What episode do you think was better?
The second one,
Oh yeah,
because
I agree with you.
more gets accomplished. We find out more about the story, and it's a lot more entertaining generally. And I don't know. I like wacky wizard meets muggle rather than the other way around.
Yeah.
We're introduced to one new Digman. I think it's just Mammoth.
No, no, it's
Oh,
two. We meet Dokugumon, the spider, and Mammon.
yeah.
So what do you think about
In
them?
a shocking turn of events, we meet a spider and a mammoth.
Well, I think their designs are pretty cool. Like, I mean, I don't like Dokugumon, but I don't like spiders. And as a big creepy spider, it does well. It looks like a big creepy computer virus spider, and that's what it is.
Yeah. It talks about sending like the kids to hell in the Japanese, which I don't think makes it into the English.
Oh yeah, definitely. But that's because the children have destroyed Dokugumon's house
Yes. Uh,
instead of they're just being intruders, which they were in the English version.
uh, yeah, and then so it's a spider. It does its job fine. It is a spider, and the Mammothmon is an elephant. It has this weird thing where one of its tusks has like a fleshy part, which has been stitched on. It's very weird, but
I like Mammothmon. I've always liked Mammothmon's design. I've liked the sort of eye thing that it's got like tattooed on its head.
oh, the one actual big difference, for whatever reason, that they added in the English is that they added robot sound effects to Mammon.
Oh yeah, they did. I forgot to write that down.
So he's like some kind of cyborg now rather than just wearing armor. He's going as he like throws cars around. So yeah, it's real weird. That's a really weird difference, but again, it doesn't make a big deal, except that people are still calling it an elephant. At that point, you'd think that people would hear it and go, "There's a big robot elephant." Why?
It's Japan.
Yeah, it's a fairly normal occurrence in Japan, but it's designed fine as well. It looks good.
I like it. I prefer Mammon to Dokugumon. So who do you think would win in a fight? Mammon, Dokugumon? Definitely Mammon.
Oh, in one-on-one, yeah, totally no on. But Dakugumon has like a million of them.
Oh yeah, if Dokugumon was in an army of Dokugumon, it could, do the spider web thing. And that's spooky.
You mean Spoopy?
Too spoop.
Alright, everybody, we'll see you on the next episode of Junjo Romantica Digimon, The Great Crossing of Tokyo.
Or almost home free.
And Raremon, surprise attack on Tokyo Bay.
It's Ramon, and this episode is called in English version the Eighth Digivice.
Raramon.
Raramon, Duraramon. Isn't that an anime? Durararara.
Duraramon.
So, as always, we'll link the show notes in the description. And if you have any suggestions for I will show you the DigiWorld or any comments, or if I've mispronounced something or I've said something that's not true, or you just want to add any comments, we're on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook. You can message us on SoundCloud or you can comment on the episodes on SoundCloud. We've got a discussion thread on With the Will. We've got a Facebook. And you can review us on iTunes and Stitcher. See you next week.
All right, see you, everybody.